Hello, people. My name is Detroit Miracle and Corey Gerard, and I like to welcome you all to Monster Wars. Yeah, right now I have a very good story to tell everyone. It is called The Golden Fairy, Lanae Pervy and Her Fairy Corpse Adventure, Part 3. So sit back and enjoy. Nancy is now shown in a rehab room as a couple of doctors monitor her treadmill workout. A female Native American agent appears to be questioning Nancy, who is walking that treadmill. The agent then says, "So you're a dream fairy warrior protective." Nancy then brightens her eyes with fairy energy and replies, "Does this convince you now?" The agent then responds, "Well, glowing light eyes are a social norm around here." Nancy then stops the treadmill and says, "Yes, this place is a bit creepy, but I've seen a lot worse." The agent then replies, "You must mean your Freddy Krueger encounters." Then suddenly another agent enters the room and says, "Well, Miss Thompson, your credentials are ready, and I'm glad you've decided to join us." The agent then hands Nancy a government ID with her photo on it, which says Analyst Nancy Thompson near her agent stamped bird and ID picture. Nancy is next seen using a computer and she types in her friend's name, Lanae Pervy, her city, state, Detroit, Michigan, but no records are found of Lanae there. Nancy appears to look confused and says, "Well, that's odd. You told me you lived there." A black female agent then enters this computer lab and Nancy says, I need to take a trip." So the agent replies, "Okay, and where are you going?" Nancy then points to the screen and says, "I have to check on a friend of mine." That agent, Mary, then looks at the computer screen and says, "Oh, Detroit, Michigan. Well, I'll make the arrangements." Now Lanae's plush beach home is shown from the outside. Its outer structure is made of reflective mirror granite that keeps changing colors. Then the Golden Fairy's bedroom floor is shown as Lanae's boots, cape, belt, and costume are seen dropping to the ground. Next, a very naked Golden Fairy walks to her shower area. Then she steps in it, and now 4 sprinklers spray out gray crystal water. This fairy's eyes are glowing bright because the warm crystals are soothing her entire body, but she does add more heat to her shower flow. Then suddenly Lanae's shower cuts off. At this point, even her hair is soaking wet. Next, her shower door opens on its own, so she turns and sees a shirtless man with a black towel wrapped around his waist. Lanae then steps halfway out and says, "I'm almost done, Corey, so you better come in now." Lanae then yanks his towel off quickly, and then she pulls this guy into her showers. Now they both grab each other's private parts as the waters come back on, but on a low pour setting. Lanae and Corey then passionately kiss while she runs her fingers through his hair of dreadlocks. Next, their tongues meet, greet, and become each other's treat. The scene then goes outside to her private beach, and now her lavender waters are shown glistening. Then the scene returns inside of the beach house and it arrives near the shower entrance. Water and moans are now heard. Now, Sidious and Vader are seen standing in front of Darth Vader's new alchemy Sith armor. Then Lord Sidious touches that armor's mask and says, "Yes, my apprentice, this suit will fit you well, and you are to put it on immediately." Then Vader replies, "As you wish, my master." Next, Darth Sidious says, "But first I'd like to discuss this Kruger matter further." So Vader replies, "But master, I've told you everything." Now the Emperor and Vader are seen walking away from Vader's new armor, and then two Dark Troopers come in and roll it away. Darth Sidious then says, "Vader, you've encountered magics unknown to both of us, and these new foes are formidable proofs, but you act like they are of no concern to you." Lord Vader now replies, "They are of no great threat to us, nor are their desires for your empire, my master." Sidious next responds by saying, "Well, what about that sorcerer fiend with the glove of knives and the dark witch female? They did attack with deadliest intentions, but that flamed goddess and her friend appear to be forces for good." Darth Vader next replies, "I'll deal with all of them in due time, and their powers will serve you undoubtedly." Now the Emperor is heard laughing as he and Vader are shown leaving this room. Next, shortly later, Darth Vader is seen laying on a medical bed, and then several robotic arms are shown removing his old prosthetic limbs and other bodily mechanics. Now the voodoo priestess is seen helping Tupac Shakur stand up. She sees that he isn't wearing any clothes, so she wraps a black sheet around his tattooed body. Marilyn then looks at his face, which confirms that it's really him, the once slain entertainer. Now Tupac is shown looking around her den, but things appear hazy to him. It's like when a baby opens its eyes for the first time. Then suddenly things become clear to Pac because his sight is fully restored. So he sees a pretty light-skinned black lady smile at him who's in her mid-50s. Marilyn then says, "I see that you've made it back and your senses are aligning well." So Tupac tries to reply something, but it's hard for him to speak clear. Marilyn next says, "Don't worry, your voice will come back soon." She then takes hold of Pac's arm as he grabs his sheet by both hands and covers more of his bare body. Now the priestess helps Tupac sit down. He then says, "Who am I?" So Marilyn turns on a near radio and then hits play on Tupac's greatest hits CD. Now different Tupac songs are heard coming on every 25 seconds. Then suddenly pre-death memories are shown flooding into Tupac's mind. These images quickly show everything that leads up to him dying in the Las Vegas hospital, which begun with his early development. Next, Tupac is seen looking at himself in the bathroom mirror, and he has the same age and look as he did before he died more than 20 years ago. Now the voodoo priestess is shown handing Pac a men's brown robe, and she turns away while he puts it on. Then Lanae is shown bent against a shower side as her lover uses his mouth like a washcloth. He is on both knees with his face pressed to Lanae's buns. She then turns around and then leans the black mystery man on his back. He also thinks her wet blonde hair is very sexy. Now Lanae is seen pleasing him orally, and Corey can't help but make ecstasy sounds. Lanae then yells, "Not yet," and then she gets on top of Corey. Now they move on the wet floor as clear water gently comes down. These two lovers then explode at the same time, and Lanae says, "I know you're a ghost, but was it still good for you too, Corey Gerard?" Corey then looks into her eyes and replies, "It was even better this time." Now the ghost figure Corey conjures a diamond engagement ring, and then he slides it on Lanae's finger. He then says, "Just think about saying yes," as her spirit lover disappears in front of her. Lanae then leaves the shower with her ring on and sees that Corey has left red roses a couple of feet away, so she picks them up and smiles. Shortly later, Fairy Lanae is shown in a white silk robe. She then glows her eyes and a giant viewer screen opens in front of her. Now this golden fairy thinks about the voodoo mystery lady, so images now appear which show Priestess Marilyn sitting in a chair as a bald black man is knelt with his head down. Then Lanae uses fairy magic to rewind this event and then sees Marilyn's resurrection methods play out, which includes Tupac Shakur's related items. Next, Lanae watches the rebirth process as well as an angel and demon arriving. The golden fairy then unbrightens her eyes and says she brought him back to life amongst the living. Now a woman is shown from the back as she works on something. Oh, she appears to be sharpening 4 razors, but her face isn't visible. Next, this lady grabs a thick leather glove and attaches 4 metal clamps on the glove's fingertips. The woman is now seen putting a razor through each clamp and then tightens every one with a screwdriver. So the weapon maker puts the glove on her right hand and shows off those reflective razors. Next, her face is shown, and it's Dr. Maggie Burnham, who's the daughter of Freddy Krueger. This scene then goes black and soon comes back to Maggie walking down a street at night, which has a field with tall grass near her. Maggie appears to be in her mid-50s, but she's still good looking. Now suddenly a large monster jumps out of that field at her, so the brave doctor runs at it and stabs this creature in the stomach with her razor glove. Maggie is next seen waking up in front of a computer screen as she sits in a chair. The words on the screen say, "Controlling your dreams through methods of lucid dreams." Then all of a sudden, that dream creature's large hand comes out of the computer screen and grabs Maggie around her neck. Oh, this monster also has a thick green arm. Next, the nightmare portals are shown in the beautiful place, and Maggie's bad dream comes up on a dream portal imager. A fairy is then shown flying into it to help Maggie, and Maggie is next shown cutting that creature's hand off with her razors. And then she wakes up in her bed seen in a gray t-shirt and panties. Maggie now lifts up a gloved hand and shows off her razors. Now the golden fairy Lanae is seen leaving her pyramid home from its top, and she quickly flies away. Next, other fairies are shown flying through nightmare portals to help attacked sleepers. Next, an 18-year-old human female is seen walking home at night, and it's very dark because the moon isn't bright nor are all of the street lights on. Then this black teen turns to a side street and walks down it. Now suddenly a car turns down that side street and drives very slow. The young lady then turns and sees that the car only has blinker lights on. The girl then gets very nervous and then walks down a nearby alley after making a left turn. She next looks back and sees that car turning into the same alley as her. So this teen starts to walk fast and check back fences for escape routes. But the first few from side to side are locked. The girl then turns to the car again and sees it moving faster at her, so she starts running. This girl then notices that all of the alley fences are tall and have barbed wire on their tops. Now the girl trips on a rock and falls down. The car is almost on her, but something stops the car by landing on its hood, which also makes the car shut down. The scared girl then turns and sees a flaming-haired mystery standing on the car hood. The young girl also sees that the magical being is wearing a cape. Now the golden fairy turns to face the terrified girl and shows her flaming gold eyes along with flame hair. Well, folks, stay tuned for part 4 of this epic story.